Hi, I'm Osiri Wisdom, the lead pastor of the Wisdom Place Church in the city of Port Harcourt, Nigeria, and also the founder of Wisdom Living Marriage and the 360-degree Parenting Academy. Today, I'll be sharing on nation building through value-based parenting. I want you to know this, that the way a family goes, that's how a nation is going. Nations are built on families. Family is the unit, the basic unit of society. So usually people may not understand that, but the family is so powerful. The society is an extension of family. So I want you to capture this. I'm going to be talking about nation building. People have built a building nation, through very important family values that I've instilled in their children. So if I'm instilling correct values to my children, I'm producing amazing value that can build our nation. Nation building is not one man's job, it's everybody's job. And your family, my family is very important. So I'm happy that you are here today to be a part of this. Thank you so much for being a part of this. So I want you to concentrate and learn the much you can. So like I said, nation building is not one person's job. The family is like a cell. You know how the cell of a body is? The cells of a body. The cell of a body determines how healthy the cells of the body is or are, is also how healthy the whole body is. So if you have unhealthy cells, you're going to have an unhealthy body. And if you want to have health, you want to start from making sure that the health of the cells are, rejuvenated. And then that's how the entire body can also be healthy. So we're focusing on the family, focusing on how we can build a nation through the family. I want you to capture this, that family serves very important things to all societies. It's the bedrock for society. Is what helps us to become the best. Let me read for you what blessed Pope John Pope II, what he said. He said the future of humanity passes by the way of family. He referred to the family as a society in its own original right. Do you remember when we had COVID and we had a lockdown? You know what happened? They shut down schools, they shut down banks, they shut down hospitals, they shut down hotels, shut down airports were shut down. Guess what? Only one place was functional. They asked us to go to one place, our home, our families. That tells you that everybody you are seeing on the street doing anything they are doing, they all retired to somewhere called home. So the family is very powerful. It's very important. I'm going to tell you and read a story on how family values can build a nation. I'm going to use the story of two people, very popular people. You can also search them on the internet. You're going to see it. But I'm going to try to talk to you about it. The first person is Jonathan Edward and Mark Jukes. Okay, Mark Jukes. You can read it on the internet and see how these two people, they impacted a whole generation. The reason is that every man is an apostle of a type. You are leaving a legacy by the way you are parenting your children. You're not just all on your own and then nothing else concerns anybody. Your family is also being impacted by this. So let me read this for you. Jonathan Edward was a preacher in the 17th century. All right, he was one of the most respected preachers of his day. He attended Yale at the age of 13 and later became the president of Princeton College. He married his wife Sarah in 1727, and they were blessed with 11 children. Every night when Edward was home, he spent an hour talking with his family and then praying and blessing each of the children. This is what he did, blessing each of the children. And then his wife also passed on a great godly legacy. Both of them passed on a great legacy to their children. Now look at the impact of this legacy, okay? Almost 150 years after Jonathan has died, they did a study of his life and to find out the remarkable impact of the legacy he has set vis-a-vis this other man called Mark Jukes. And I want you to see what happened. Jonathan's legacy includes, this is what a man, by just the kind of value he stayed for his family, Jonathan has raised, one U.S. vice president, one dean of the law, one dean of medical school, 3 U.S. senators, 3 governors, 3 mayors, 3 governors, okay, 13 college presidents, like you have vice chancellors, 30 judges, 60 doctors, 65 professors, 75 military officers of great repute, 80 public officer holders that had merit, 100 lawyers, 100 clergy, and 285 college graduates. Now, this is just after 150 years of this man. Look at the quality of people. In fact, some study went further to talk about how much his family had generated to the American economy. Now, let's contrast it with this other man, okay? Let's contrast it with this other man, Max Jukes. His legacy is so funny. This man, he lived the same time with Jonathan Edward, but he was not, family oriented. He was not imparting his family, the way Jonathan was doing. And guess what happened? His legacy has it like this. He had 7 murderers, 60 acclaimed thieves, notable thieves, 190 prostitutes, 150 convicts, 310 paupers, 440 who were physically wrecked by addiction to alcohol. Oh my God. And of the 200 descendants that were studied, 300 died prematurely. Okay, this contrasting legacy, provides for us an example of what it's called to understand that we are, as a family, we are raising generations, and that we are imparting society. So the way I do things will impart the next generation. I cannot build a nation better than the kind of legacy I was leaving. So you see that based on the strong legacy Jonathan Edward left for his family, look at how a whole nation was built by this family. The amount of money that was spent, it cost some researchers, presented the amount of millions in dollars it cost the American government to sustain Max Jukes' family in prison and all the things that they cost. And then they contrasted it with the amount of income that was generated, by Jonathan Edward family. And you can see the difference. It's wide. I want you to see this, that as a man, if you're a man, listen to me, or a woman, or a parent, know that that child in your hand can impart a nation. That child in your hand can help build a nation or destroy one. That child in your hand is not just flesh and bone. That child in your hand, if you look at that child with the right perspective, you can begin to see that that child can be the next president. That child can be the child that can solve life problem. That child can be the one that through value-based parenting. There are people that are doing parenting on assumption. No, you want to do value-based parenting. It's very powerful. My wife and I, we have this book called the 360-degree parenting. I'm not going to have time to talk about that today, but you can get it, 360-degree parenting. I'm going to share a little from this book also today. But I want you to know, not only this, get parenting books if you're a parent and begin to get yourself serious with this assignment. Parenting is not something you do, casually. Parenting is not something you do as though you are mindless. Parenting is not something you do without your mind being involved in it. Parenting involves the whole of you, involves concentration for you to be able to produce the type of result that you want to build a nation. So when it comes to building nation, what comes to your mind? Building nation is synonymous with building people. When people hear nation building, it's building people, it's building processes, is building, institutions that can run by structure and systems. I'm going to say it again. Nation building is more than just building bridges. It's building people first. These people will in turn build processes, excellent systems and templates, systems and structures, institutions that will run a company, that will run a country, that will run an organization. That's what nation building is essentially about. So I'm going to be talking to you now about how you can, as a person, begin to take step by step, what you can do as a parent to raise this kind of children. It's important you know that strong families build strong communities, and strong communities build strong nations. I'm going to say that again. Strong families make up a strong community, and a strong community build very strong nation. And that's why you go to different communities, you see that there's a community you go, crime is low because the family values there are strong. You go to other communities, crime is very high. Okay, one of the best, I want you to write this down if you have your Bible pen, that one of the best way to curb crime is good parenting. I'm going to tell you again. One of the best way to handle crime is good parenting, value-based parenting. That's one sure way you're going to have this done. So I want you to understand that when family members are raised well, the nation, of course, begin to experience the things. So what are the things? How will you contribute? Number one, how will you begin to do value-based parenting? As a family, number one, determine to establish a family vision. So the first thing you're going to do if your family is going to participate in nation building is to first of all have a vision. Have a vision for your family. My family, we have one, and there are 8 value elements inside that. All right, we simply say things like, all right, every morning we recite it to ourselves. We framed it in our living room. We framed it everywhere. You see it. It simply says, as a family, we honor God, prioritize family, value people, transfer wealth, keep the covenant of peace, mutual growth, enjoyment, kingdom advancement legacy, and 360-degree parenting wisdom. My family, my children, they know this. I want to ask you, do you have a family vision? So the first one we say we honor God. So we talk about godliness, talk about the values of God at home. Every morning we recite it. We teach ourselves what it is. We try to say, okay, we're going to value what God says we should. We do what God says we should do and refuse to do what God says we should not do. All right? We want to value family. We want to value family, okay? That's very critical for us. So we say we honor God, right? By the way we live and our words and our actions. Then we prioritize family. Then we put family as a priority. Some people don't prioritize their family. Some prioritize other things, not family. Then we go, says, we have, we value family, we prioritize family, we value people. Now, when we say we value people, it means we respect people. We don't demean people. You can't go and kill anybody because you value lives. So people that are killing people all around the world, they don't value the lives of human beings. But as a family, I'm trying to do our best to say, hey, my family, we value people. All right, we value people. Now we say transfer wealth, which means we're going to work hard not to be a liability to the nation. We want to be a family that add value. And then when we are done, we transfer the value to our children, and they transfer to their own children. Because the Bible says a wise man, a godly man, a righteous man, a just man will leave an inheritance for his children's children. So we transfer that wealth. Then talk about, mutual growth. Which means everybody in that family needs to be growing, wanting to grow. We don't want only the father growing, the mother is not growing, the children are not growing. No, everybody is growing in that family. That's it. And then we go to the next one. We say enjoyment. My last boy liked our enjoyment. As a home, we want to bring peace and enjoyment in our house. Sometimes on Fridays we throw mats on the floor, and then we cook stuff. Some will do family, some watch movie. It's enjoyment. See, life is too short for you to be worrying all through. Life is too short for you to have so much tension around it. You want to make sure that you're living a life that honors God, a life that honors God, a life that honors God. This is so deep, so powerful. Then we talk about, kingdom advancement legacy, and then 360-degree parenting, which we're going to parent the children all around. This is very important. So the first one, as a family, you have to develop vision. The Bible says, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, it says, where there's no vision, what happened? The people perish. And that one says people cast off restraint. So children are not being restrained because there's no vision. I want to challenge you as a father, challenge you as a mother. Go back today and build a vision for that family. That vision is what will move all of you to your promised land. That vision is what will keep people back in order. That vision is what will keep people focused on the way you are, giving your family direction, how they should behave, how they should speak. The next thing, when you have formed a vision, the next thing is values. You must be a person that have values. Family values are very important. Values are the way, the principle, the guiding principles that guide our behavior and our actions. Some people have different kinds of values. Values can be that impart our culture, impart our character. I'm sure you know that there are a lot of people, that their value system is so weak. Sometimes, let me give an example. The value of respecting or honoring elders. You need to honor elders. Some people don't honor elders anymore. You need to know, I need to honor elders. I need to respect. In our days, when you see an elderly person, all right, you're on a seat. You see you stand up, an elderly person will sit. Now we see young people say, that man, stand up there, that's where I was sitting. It can't be done that. We have to honor elderly people. Honor your father, honor your mother, honor your teachers, honor leaders. You have to teach them honor. So values are very important. Values like chastity, value like purity, like diligence. All of these values are the things that can help you become the family that can help build a nation. Nation building, don't forget what I say, is not built by block and cement. It's built by people who have been raised with values. The first thing you want to do as a family is to have vision. Number two is to create values. Values, they can be social values, spiritual values, economic values, moral values, all right, discipline, honesty, goodness, good manners, strong work ethics, communication, sacrifice, forgiveness. These are the values that can build a nation. These are values that can build a nation. As I go deeper now, okay, let me just take each of them one by one and tell you what you can do. Well, this value is very important, right? What can you do in all of these values? They're very, very important. Number one, teach them economic value, which means by the way you spend money, teach them not to be wasteful. Teach them that their money is made gradually. They should not be comparing themselves with other people and want to, build the biggest house, ride the most powerful car as a teenager. All right, you have to teach them that life is in phases, men are in sizes. That's economic value. Teach them also how they need to know there's dignity in labor. They have to work and then get money. Teach them. Please take these things I'm saying very seriously. The next one, you have to teach them societal value. How do they respect the law? They should not be throwing things on the street. Respect police officers. Make sure they obey traffic light. They should not litter the street. These are things that we need to teach our children from home. From home. We taught our children, say that leaders don't throw things from a moving vehicle. You have to teach them. So the first one is economic values. I've thought about that. Number two is societal value. Number three is moral values. Values like respect for people, respect for elders. All right, whether this person is a house help, domestic help, you know what we call house help, domestic help, you have to respect them. Your children cannot afford to be disrespecting them, dishonoring them. Throw things like arrogance, pride, all of these things away and help them to have moral values. Moral values, all right, to keep their sanity, to keep their, sexuality in order, in check. You cannot be having, pregnancy, teenage pregnancy rising very high. Children below 18 getting pregnant. You see some 15, they already have 2 children. You're wondering what is going on in the society. All right, so but if you need to teach these values, and that's what begin to guide us. The next one is to teach your children spiritual values. Teach them to love the Bible. Teach them to develop a passion for God in their heart. Let them know. Children can learn a lot. They learn cartoon language. They can sing songs that is up to 3 minutes, 4 minutes some. They can recite everything. They're watching those cartoons. That's how they should also recite the Bible. That's how they should internalize the scripture on their inside. That's how they have to make sure that their children, are not just watching people quarreling and other things. Let them also learn other things that can help them as they're watching those stuff. That's very powerful. Okay, so how do I instill these values? I've talked about you have vision. Number two, you have values. There are many other things, but let me just stop at that too. No, vision and value. Those two are key. There are many, there are about 10 of them, but because of time, just 2. But now let me talk about how do you instill these values to children. I thought about like 5 types of values you should instill in them. How do you do it? What's the process of doing it? Number 1, you have to be it. See, the best place to start is you need to be the change you seek to see. So as a parent, you ask your child not to do something, but you are doing it. You are confusing the child. So you ask a child, don't do this. Maybe don't drink, don't smoke. Those things they tell children, don't lie. But your child is seeing you lie. Somebody came to visit you, you told your child, go and tell him, I'm not at home. You have just told the child, you are training him in lying. So next time he'll lie, you say, you are the teacher. You are the prof, you are the lecturer that taught him. So the values you want, you have to be it. I think what Mahatma Gandhi that said, you have to be the change you seek to see. You have to be that change, you have to be it. I believe every man is an apostle. Just like we talked about the story of Jonathan Edward and Max Jukes. They are all apostles. You are an apostle. When a man begins to do the things he's doing, he's an apostle. Apostles are pioneers. Fathers, you are a pioneer. They establish new things. You can pioneer your family now and establish new foundation and make sure that your family, your marriage becomes an example for others to follow. Step into the new phase and create something different. Don't allow the society to impact your family in a very negative way. Let the culture of your family be stronger than that of society. So now we see young people, secondary school girls and boys having sex in classrooms. We see people in primary school using, oh God, you don't want to hear all of those stories. But you want to find out that the value system are very important. You have to be it. You have to be it. That's the beginning point. Because your actions speak louder, so loud that your children, they don't even hear what you are saying. They speak so loud. Okay? The next one is that you have to model it. One, you teach it, then you model it. No, one, you be it, then you model it. To model it means you have to gradually begin to teach them, do and teach. You know, in Acts chapter 1 verse 1, Bible says the thing that Jesus began both to do and to teach. So doing and teaching is the modeling process. Do, teach. Because even when you are doing, they may not understand that's what you are doing. So you have to teach them that this is what I'm doing now. So that is what is modeling. You have to model it for them, all right? Jesus demonstrated this in a powerful way. Even the disciple come and say, teach us to pray. Because they saw him pray. He showed them how to pray. They saw him pray. So you want to teach them. All right, you want to teach them transformational power of love. Teach them to love other people, love themselves, and then that's very powerful. So number one, you be it. Number two, you model it. They see it in your life as a model. You do constantly. You teach it. Number three, and then you begin to see. Number four, you begin to transfer it. Transfer the same culture. Transfer the same spirit to them. Let them see that this thing they can learn it. Transfer it. Make it something very, very important. You know what they talked about Timothy. Look at what it says, Timothy chapter 2, 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 5. He said, I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois, and thy mother Eunice, and I'm persuaded that is in you also. Now look at that. It was in Timothy's grandmother, in the mother. And then so he said transfer. Part of the things you want to transfer to your children is good values. Good values. All right, my father tried to do that. He did that. My father and my mother, they did that for us. There's something I used to do in my village. All right, when people are doing retirement, they give them gifts. Some keep it in their home. Some look for, if they feel that their homes are not safe, they look for a place where the person is a safe person and drop it. My father had many people come to our home to drop. So by the time my father died 4 years ago, at age 90, we saw people. We called them, please, my father is going to come and call. He said, no. Since your father is a man of integrity, you are also going to be a man of integrity. You people like, so leave it there. Some people stay in our home 10 years. My father was the type of person, if you give him money, all right, 2 weeks after you ask him for that money, he will not just give you the exact amount, he will give you the same currency, the same note you gave him. He won't touch it. That's the values I learned from the man. And I'm doing my best to also try to transfer it to my children. You want to teach them the dignity of labor. You have to teach them savings, teach them budgeting, teach them morality, teach them. Don't leave it for schools alone. Schools are trying. All the schools, they're trying. One of the things you want to do as a parent, don't allow what the school have taught. Don't destroy it. If there's anything you want to add to it, you want to make it better. So it's always a tripartite stuff. The school, the religious organizations, and the family. But the family is the strongest in all the three personalities that are platforms that are playing a role to raise a child. As I close this, I want you to remember what I just talked about. Talk about nation building. I gave you an example of Jonathan Edward and Max Jukes. I gave you an example of how their family raised different people in a different way. I also talked to you about the power of having families that are strong, because that's what builds a nation, and that nation building is about building people, and that these people are built in families. And then I told you about things you need to create, which is vision, instrument for this nation building, vision, and then you also use values. I talked to you about the types of values and how to transfer and how you're going to do this modeling for your children. Be it, model it, teach it, and transfer it. This will help you. I hope this is very practical enough. All right, some of the things I've taught, though in our book, like I told you, you can get a 360 parenting. You can, follow me at Osiri Wisdom on Instagram, on Facebook, Osiri Wisdom, Osiri spelled O-X-I-R-I, and ask to order for it. We can send it to you wherever you are, and we want you to study it. Not only this, get other materials also that can help you to raise your children. In the book, I talked about a lot of things, the principles of parenting, the types of children, how to know the personality type of your child, which is very key. If you don't know the personality, code of your child, you can't parent properly. So the book talks about the 4 types of children, and more beautifully, it's talk about the expected behavior of a child. There's expected behavior of every child, and then you have what you can call the misbehavior. Sometimes what some people call misbehavior is just expected behavior. Let me give you an example. You ask a 3-month-old child to go and rub powder. What do you expect? What do you expect? He will pour the powder in his head everywhere. So go and rub cream. Where will you rub it? You rub it on his stomach. That's the region. You just see him like that. That's what you're going to see. And then you now come as a parent. You start slapping the child. You start beating the child. You say the child is misbehaving. No, you are the one misbehaving. Because that is appropriate age. So you need to train. Parenting requires skill. You need to train yourself in the skill. So this book provides for you step by step on how you understand the value of parenting. Okay, I would like to sit with you for hours. I actually do that. I do parenting workshop for people that live for like 4 hours in class physically, and then we do like a 3 weeks detailed parenting workshop. All right, when parents now get to know the personality type of their child, their own personality, their temperament, the parenting type, parenting styles, approaches to parenting, and then apply it to the uniqueness of their child to know what's the communication style for my child, for each of the child, because no 2 children are the same. And I want to encourage you, parents, as I wrap up, to understand that you need to awake to the reality that this thing is very important. Learn the very important habits I talked about in the book that can help you do this parenting, okay? Because if you're not in the memory of your children, if you're not in the life of your children today, you will not be in their memory tomorrow. You will not be there. You want to be in their lives. You want to be, take them to school. I do that. Take them to school. When they're younger, bathe them. When they grow up, do what you need to do. Because every child will reflect the quality of parenting that he or she has gone through. Every child will reflect the quality of parenting he or she has gone through. And you want to do that. You want your children to remember you for good, parent them right. Some people say that, this child is lean to the father or lean to the mother. No, children will lean to the person that have time for them. And one of the most powerful things you can give a child is your time. Incidentally, that's the least thing that some people give their children. I read the story of a man, it was in the US, that the father is so busy, always going, I don't have time for the child. So one day the son asked him, Dad, how much do they pay you where you work? The father mentioned. He said, no problem. You know what will happen? Can I pay you for 2 hours? He said, I have $40. Can I give you for $20 per hour they pay you? Let me pay you 40 hours and take $40 and get 2 hours of your time. The man was crying. Because if you're not in the life of children today, they are pursuing you, you are running. A time will come, you'll be looking for them. You won't see them, they'll be running, you are pursuing them. And that's not what you want to be. I pray for you that you are going to have children that will make you happy. You're going to have children that will produce greatness. You're going to have children that will be like arrow in your hand. You're going to cast them forward and they shall fulfill purpose. There will not be a pain, an arrow that will shoot your heart. There will be arrows in your hand that will achieve purpose and wipe away the enemy at the gate. I love you, I cherish you, and I value you. I look forward to hearing testimony for you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much, Pastor Ike, for asking me to do this. Thank you for everyone that's part of this. I believe that your best is yet to come. Don't forget what I say. You can interact with me more on Osiri Wisdom on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all that. And then we can keep the conversation going. And if you also want to be a part of the parenting workshop, hey, contact me, send me a DM, or just send something to this phone number I'm going to give to you right now, 0810-2828-268. I'll take it again, 0810-2828-268. And let's start the conversation. Thank you so much. I believe that what we have taught today will help you. Don't forget, the purpose of knowledge is not storage, but usage. Go and use what you've learned today. I cherish you and I value you.